Hello and good evening and welcome to ANDYS Shed Live for this Sunday the 28th of January 2018. This is Season 3, Episode 4. How the devil are you this week? It's been another busy one for me. I start a new day job tomorrow. I'm going driving a taxi tomorrow for the first time. We'll be telling you more about that a little bit later in the show. But what's coming up this week on ANDYS Shed Live? Well, we've got one or two things. As promised last week, we're back on the old telephone restorations this week. But before that, we've just got a little bit of housekeeping to do that I want to talk to you about relating to this YouTube thing. Now, we're not going to go banging on about this because I know there's been lots of people going banging on about this over the last 10 days or so since it happened. But basically, starting on February the 20th, we are no longer going to be able to advertise or no longer be able to benefit from any advertising that is on our videos on YouTube. We won't get a percentage anymore because YouTube say they're not going to give a percentage of the advertising to anybody with less than 1,000 subscribers anymore. And because we're a niche little channel here, of course, we've not got anywhere near 1,000 subscribers. I think we've got about 250, 260 at the last count. So if you're not subscribed to us already, do us a favour and click that little subscribe button. You won't get pestered with loads and loads of spam or anything like that, so don't worry about that. But just click that subscribe button. It helps us, big time. And for any other YouTubers with less than 1,000 subscribers, everybody's in the same boat. So if you see a YouTuber who's got less than 1,000 subscribers, please click on that subscribe button. And if you're a YouTuber yourself, one of the small creators yourself, as they call us, then click on that subscribe button. Make sure your subscriptions are public before you do, so make sure all the people can see who you subscribe to. And then when you subscribe to us, what happens is I go through the list every couple of days, and any new subscribers, I subscribe back to them. So hopefully we'll get lots of people above that 1,000 subscriber mark that they need. So if we're not going to hit 1,000 subscribers, unfortunately YouTube is going to take the way of making a little bit of money off us that we have. And basically that money that we make, we don't make a vast fortune out of it, but what we make sort of goes towards the running costs of the website and things. But there are going to be other ways, hopefully, that you will be able to support us in the future. The website that I'm talking about, of course, is this one. It's andyshed.corepress.net. That's the place to go if you want to see any back episodes of ANDYS Shed Live. Bear in mind we're in the 3rd season now, so if you want to see loads of telephone restorations and things like that, that's the place to go. andyshed.corepress.net, and you can see all the old telephone restorations and things that we've done, and much more besides on there. Another place that you can go if you want to help us out when YouTube basically takes off our advertising is you can become a patron of the channel over at patreon.com. And if you want the link to find out how you can do that from just $1 a month, it's here at patreon.com/AndysShed. That's patreon.com/AndysShed. Now, I did say last week that this week we would have a little online shop opening where you could buy t-shirts and things like that. Now, we've been in touch with the people at Spreadshirt who provide these online shops and things, and they provide them for lots of YouTubers and that. They've had some technical issues this week, which means the shop has been delayed slightly. Maybe it's when they've been oversubscribed themselves with people wanting to open online shops because the YouTube funding's disappearing. But hopefully within the next week, or maybe a couple of weeks at most, hopefully we will be opening the shop, and you'll be able to buy sort of mugs and t-shirts and things like that with cool ANDYS Shed designs on them, which will be a nice bit of merch for you, and we get a little percentage of all those sales, of course, and that will keep these shows ticking over and hopefully enable us to do a little bit more even than we do at the moment. So whether it be Patreon at patreon.com/ANDYShed, or whether it be t-shirts or whatever, every little does help. And remember, one of the things you can do that won't cost you anything is just click that subscribe button. Every little really does help. Right, that's enough about the old YouTube nonsense for now. So I'm getting a bit sick of YouTube, to be quite honest, at the minute. We are also available now on Dailymotion, one of YouTube's main competitors. You see what we did there. You can find us on there at dailymotion.com/ANDYShed. That's our channel on Dailymotion if you want to watch us directly there. That's dailymotion.com/ANDYShed. And you will notice that if you go to our website, if you go to our web address, andyshed.coldpress.net, you go to that one, you will click on where it says shows or videos. You will be able to see that some of our back episodes of ANDYS Shed Live are now starting to be hosted on Dailymotion rather than on YouTube. Hopefully it will be a almost identical viewing experience for you. But if you do have trouble viewing any of the back episodes or any of the live streams come to that, get in touch with us. Again, go to the website andyshed.coldpress.net and you'll find a contact us form on there. If you have problems viewing any of the episodes, get on that contact us form and let us know what the problem was, and we'll do our very best to help you. I do try and personally get back to everybody who contacts us. It's not always possible if a load of people contact us all at once, but eventually I will get back to you, I promise. And the other thing, while we're still on YouTube, of course, in the comment section down below, you can always leave us a comment there as well. But bear in mind, we may be leaving YouTube on February the 20th. No decisions have been made as yet. Right, let's crack on with this show today, because I've been out for most of the day today. It's been a very busy weekend for me. Some of you may know that we broadcast to you from northeast Derbyshire here, and I do a lot of events and things in Sheffield. Yesterday we had our bi-monthly repair cafe. Was it yesterday? No, that was last week. Last week we had our bi-monthly repair cafe. Yesterday we had a Sheffield Collectors Club event, which is where lots of collectors of different things all gather together over there at Healy City Farm. They do that once a month now. And we did that yesterday, and today we've done another repair cafe in the city centre in Sheffield, a place called Union Street in the city centre. That is also monthly. Now, if you don't know what a repair cafe is, it's a place where you can take broken stuff and get it fixed basically for free. I mean, if there's any major parts involved, you have to go away and buy the parts and then bring them to us, then we fit them for you basically for free. You can make a little donation to our running costs of that if you want to, but it's basically a free service. And that's what the repair cafe is all about. If you want to know more about what repair cafes do, basically just Google it. Just type repair cafe into Google and you'll find lots of results for these things all around the world that take place. As I said, we do them at Healy City Farm in Sheffield, and we also do them at Union Street in Sheffield in association with the Common Thread Clothes Exchange. Get over there if you want to have a look. If you want to find out more about the repair cafes, the place to go is sheffieldrepaircafe.coldpress.net. That's sheffieldrepaircafe.coldpress.net, and you'll find their website lurking over there. Right. Marvellous. So, other than sort of battling with YouTube and stuff, and going here, there and everywhere, and changing my day job and all that kind of stuff, what have I been up to over Christmas and over the last few weeks? Well, the ANDYS Shed hasn't been terribly busy. I've not actually been doing much in the way of restorations. Not because we haven't got a lot to do, but just because really I haven't had time. I haven't really got around to doing much. But one thing that I have been doing, I have been experimenting with this stuff. And I can show you it. This stuff. You can see that. Now this, we get this out of the pound shop. And it says on it, Classics Artificial Nail and Tip Remover. But it's what it says underneath that that's the interesting part. Pure acetone. Now, acetone is brilliant for anybody that restores anything plastic, like, for instance, this telephone behind me. Yeah. Because the case of this telephone, the blue bit, yeah, is made out of a plastic called ABS. Now, we have also got a video about restoring discoloured ABS, because it does discolour with sunlight, and you won't be able to see this if you're watching live, but if you're watching after the event, hopefully when I get round to putting it there, somewhere up in the top corner, up here somewhere, or maybe even up there somewhere in the top corner, will be a little link to the video that we did about how to restore the colour to ABS. But this phone is an interesting one because it was smashed on the front corners. Now, and you can see the break there on that front corner of the case. So what I've been doing, I have been rebuilding this corner up, and I don't know if you can see, if I can get it in focus a little bit more for you, but there, that front corner I've been rebuilding, and I've done that using liquefied ABS, and this is where the acetone trick comes in, because what you do is you get a little jar, and it needs to be a glass jar for this. I stress. And these little jars, these have like beef spread and things like that in these little jars, and they're really good. And you put a little bit of acetone in the bottom of the jar, and then drop in a bit of ABS plastic, a bit of scrap ABS plastic, and over time the ABS melts into the acetone and basically makes a sort of sticky paste. Now this has gone hard in the bottom of this jar because this has been done a few days, but if I put some more acetone in there, you will see that this blue plastic in this jar that looks sticky, I know, but it's actually gone hard because, like I say, it's been in there a few days. That will start to liquefy again. So if I put a little bit of acetone in that, and it only needs to be the tiniest drop, like that. If I put that in there, oops, I'm knocking things over now. I've got a very messy desk here today. This is because I've got lots of things on it, lots of pending projects and that. So I've put that in there, and if you can see that, perhaps, and if I give that a shake up, you will hopefully see that start to liquefy, and that clear liquid will start to turn blue in the bottom of there, which is the acetone taking the plastic up into it again. And the idea is to put in enough plastic that the acetone becomes takes it up, but it's not totally liquid, it's kind of like a paste, and it will do that after a while. It will become like a paste if you don't put too much acetone liquid in. And what happens then is, once you've got it into a paste sort of format, you can start to rebuild the cases on these phones with it. So if I get a good shake round like that, so I only put a few drops of acetone in there, but I don't know if you can see that liquid in the bottom of there. I'll put it back here a bit, you can probably see it better. It's starting to turn blue, that liquid in there. Can you see it? That is starting to turn blue because that is taking up the bit of plastic that was left in there. And what happens is that you make it into a kind of gooey paste, and then you can start to rebuild the cases on the phones with it. And this phone that I've got down here on the desk, if I unwrap the line cord from it, you will see how I've already started to rebuild the front corner. If I get this under the camera again, like that, and you can see there that I've started to rebuild this front corner. Now it's not anywhere near perfect because I need to mix some more blue plastic in some more acetone to complete it, but at least there's a base layer on there now, and that was a completely broken away piece. You can see where it was broken away round here. The corner of this case was completely missing. So you basically get a very stiff paintbrush and just sort of start dabbing the acetone on. Now what I did when this was a broken away corner, I put a piece of plastic behind it around the corner and stuck it on the inside, just to give the gooey acetone something to support it from behind while it's set, because it is gooey. What has to happen is the acetone has to dissolve out of the plastic again in the air, and when the acetone dissolves out into the air, it leaves the plastic hard again, and that is what has happened there. So that's one of the things that I'm working on, and that's how to rebuild telephone cases with acetone. I did have a wall telephone, a wall version of one of these, a grey one, and I completely rebuilt that case because when it arrived with me, the case was absolutely smashed to smithereens. I don't know what the postal service or the couriers had been doing with it, but I think they'd been like playing volleyball with it or something before they delivered it to me. But that case was completely rebuilt, and now you could hardly tell on that one, but I've just not got it here to show you at the moment. So that's what you do, and the easy way to get acetone, you can get it off of eBay and things, but the easy way to get acetone is to go into the pound shop, and that's what you're looking for in the purple bottle there. And Classics artificial nail and tip remover. It has to be pure acetone though, so make sure it's pure acetone. And of course that bottle cost me £1. You can buy bigger bottles than that off of eBay that are a bit cheaper, but then you have to pay postage on them as well, of course. So that is not great. And you can also use acetone to get the discoloration off of phones, because grey phones, grey British phones that have got this ABS plastic tend to discolour in the sunlight, and they actually go a really dirty brown colour. If ever you see a sort of mid-brown looking British phone, chances are it started out life as a grey one and it's just gone brown with age. Really dark brown ones are dark brown, sort of chocolate brown colour. They are dark brown, but if it's a mid dirty sort of dirty pond water sort of brown, that's a grey one that's gone brown with age. So that's one of the things that I've been doing. I've been messing about with this. I'm just going to wrap the cord up again on this as I talk to you, otherwise I'll tie myself up in it, and we don't want that, do we? So, what else have I got to tell you? Yeah, the other things that I've been doing, we've not had many phones come in. I know a lot of you out there that watch this show collect phones, so hello to all of you out there. But we've not had many come in recently, but I've got one interesting one down here. Some of you might have seen this before. It needs a good clean, but it's here nonetheless, and that is this one, which I will put under a camera so you can see it. Here it is, and this, for those of you that don't know, is a thing called a contempora. And we'll just get this into focus a bit more for you. Move the acetone a bit more out of the way. Now, these are an interesting phone, because although they look quite modern, when you actually take the handset off, you'll see it's got a dial. Now, the dial on these contemporaries is interesting because if you notice, there's nowhere for the dial to go. There's no gap in the finger wheel. There's no space where there aren't numbers. And so how do you actually dial? How do you actually dial, let's say, 1 on it, because there's nowhere for it to go? Because, you know, it's just got there's no space for it to go. So how do you turn it and dial 1? Well, the answer is the actual finger stop moves. So if you dial 1, you see that finger stop move round. If I get my fingers out of the way, which is a constant problem on this show, you see it moves. That finger stop moves around. So even if you're dialing 1, which is right next to the finger stop, you have actually got some distance to dial. And that's how they work. Now, these phones came to the UK, I think it was the early 1980s, when you could start having different telephones. So of course you had the standardised types until the early 1980s. You basically had a 746 or 706 or a war phone, or basically nothing, or maybe a trim phone. If you were a bit posh, maybe you had a trim phone. But in the early 80s, when the new plug and socket system came in, and for those of you in America who maybe don't know what the plug and socket system is, I'm talking about these things, these plugs where you could plug into a wall socket. Have I got a wall socket lurking anywhere I can show you? Just looking for one. No, I haven't at the minute. Oh yes, I have. There's one up here. Here's a wall socket for you. So that just plugs in there. It should go that way up, you see. So that fits on your wall. Plug goes in like so, and should lock in with this little tab on the side here, which you just press to pull it out again. This little tab often gets broken off, and people say to me, can you still use a phone with that tab broken off? You can, and in some ways it's better, because if you get up and walk around with your phone and you get to the end of the limit of travel of the lead sort of thing, if that little tab thing is broken off and you walk a bit too far away from the socket when you're talking to somebody on the phone, all you'll do is pull the plug out the socket. Whereas if it's still got that little tab on it, you know, you can't pull it out, so you're probably going to pull the wires out of the end of the plug and maybe do some damage. So in some ways it's better if they are actually broken off. But that is how they work. That is what we call the plug and socket system in the UK. Before the plug and socket system existed, our telephones used to be hardwired in to the telephone line through a little box, which I can hopefully also show you, which I've got somewhere down here. I'll put this under the camera, and we used to be hardwired into the telephone line like that. And if you imagine this is your incoming telephone line from outside, and then it goes through this little box and out and in rather to your telephone, which in this case is a green phone, hence the green box. And the boxes were generally colour coded the same way as the telephone, so you had green ones and yellow ones and blue ones and red ones and ivory ones and black ones. And what colour have I missed there? I'm sure I've missed something, but somebody will tell me. Oh, brown ones later. No, you didn't get brown ones. This chocolate brown colour, you didn't get brown ones of these, because by the time the brown phone came in, the brown version of the 746, which I I happen to have one here. Here is the brown version of the 746, and I think it's the same colour as a contemporary. If it's not exactly the same, it's very close if you look at them side by side there. But by the time this phone came in, the brown version of the 746, it was called the Yeoman phone, and they came with the plug and socket because the brown colour wasn't released until well into the 1980s, and by that time we'd switched over to the plug and socket system. So the brown one never came with these little boxes on, these little boxes like this. It never had them, but all the other colours did. It's just that the brown was released later, you see. So theoretically it should be rarer if you think about it, because they were making them for less years. But you do see a few about, so the brown ones are not as old, and you certainly never ever get a brown 706. You sometimes get a mid-brown 706, what I said was a dirty pond water colour 706, but that is because it was a grey one that's gone brown. But you'll never get one of these chocolate brown coloured ones. Right, I'm just going to plug myself back in down here, because I pulled that little box out because it's connected to a phone that's working to show you. I'm sometimes asked if people can call us here on the old telephones. Yes, you can if you're on a system called CNET, which is C*net or C*net. If you are on CNET, yes, you can call us here, because we do have a CNET line here. If you are lucky enough to be on it and you want to give us a call, I can give you a number that you can call us on, and the number to try is 0246 87 2190. That is 0246 87 2190, and that will make a phone ring behind me here if any of you are on CNET and want to give it a go. And that's one way that you can get in touch with us here. Bear in mind, we are in the UK, so if you're in America, please remember the time difference, because if I have to like get out of bed and dive downstairs and come into this little studio room here at like 2 o'clock in the morning, not be terribly pleased maybe. So just bear in mind where we are in the world. As I say, we are in the UK, in North East Derbyshire. I was going to say sunny North East Derbyshire, but anybody who's actually in North East Derbyshire will definitely be able to tell you that it is not sunny here a lot of the time. So that is what we've been up to over the last few weeks. So I'm restoring this contemporary. One thing that I want at the moment for this particular phone, which is why it's still down here being worked on, is it's got an intermittent fault with the line cord, and I'm looking for a brown line cord. No, not line cord. The curly cord, the handset cord. So I'm looking for a brown handset cord for a contemporary phone. So if you've got one, or if you know anybody that might have one out there, please get in touch either in the comments or drop us a message using the contact form over on the old website there, andyshed.coldpress.net, and that would be much appreciated if you can do that, because that would be another one that is totally fixed then and ready to go back into use. And we are getting quite a few done now. One day I will try and show you what I call the reference collection, which is a collection of all the different types of phones that we've got here. We've basically got one of each of every colourway and things, or we're trying to build up a collection of that. So we've got one of each type for reference. But yeah, so we've got lots of them all lurking around. So that's what we've been doing in terms of the telephone restorations, and we will get back into it over the next couple of weeks. We will get back into doing some restoration work live on the show. Like I say, we've got to put a new line code on that contemporary, so we'll be a new curly code rather on that contemporary. So we'll be opening that contemporary up, and they are very different to anything else in the UK inside them. The history of the contemporary phone is quite an interesting one, because as I said, they came over into the UK in the early 1980s, but they were actually designed in the mid-60s. They were actually around in the 60s. If you are one of our viewers in America, you'll say, yeah, we had contemporaries years ago. Well, yeah, you did. You had them from the 60s. You had them in more different colours than we had them over here as well. Because over here, I think you could get them in brown. Well, you could certainly get them in brown, because I've got 2 or 3 in brown. You could get a bright orange one over here, and I think there was a kind of ivory or very pale grey one as well. Could you get that? But that wasn't a colour you could get over here, I don't think, the ivory one. You couldn't get that. You could get a brown and an orange. And I'm not sure if that was it over here, but I have got an ivory one. And when I looked close at it, it's actually an American one. So the colourways over here were a bit limited. A similar thing happened with Ericophones. They were very limited in colours that you could get here in the UK, but you could get them in far more colours in Europe and also in America than you could here, and that's another thing. But I've got a box of Ericophones that we're gradually working through as well. I was lucky enough to manage to buy 5 as a job lot a few months ago, and we're gradually fixing those, and in the next few weeks we'll be getting into one of those as well. So if you've got an Ericophone or a contemporary and you want to know how to restore it or how to take it apart and have a look inside it, keep watching over the next 2 or 3 weeks, because we are going to be doing both of those. If there are any other things that you want to see us do, telephone related, then get in touch with us at andyshed.coldpress.net and click on the contact form thing, or just leave us a comment on YouTube in the comment section if you're watching this on YouTube, and we'll get back to you on there. If you're watching this on Daily Motion, you can get in touch with us on there as well. But probably the easiest way for now is to go to the comments on andyshed.coldpress.net, which you can see right there. Right, another thing that I've been doing recently is I've been having a bit of a tidy up. And I've got loads of old computer parts, loads and loads of old computer bits and pieces. And one of the things that I've got quite a few of is these old hard drives. Now, some of these still work. I got quite a few of these off FreeCycle a few years ago. Somebody wiped some hard drives and then put them on FreeCycle. But the problem is they weren't very big size. How big's this one that I've got here? This one is a 10 gig hard drive, so it's nothing really. 10 gig, is it? It's absolutely nothing really. But they're quite heavy things, so I thought, I wonder what's inside them. So the other day, when I kind of not got much of anything to do, I took one apart. Well, I took 2 apart actually. I got all kinds of goodies out of these hard drives. And here's a tray, and the tray is actually a cover of one of the hard drives, of all these kind of bits and pieces. There's quite a few bits in them. I mean, here's the thing that are basically the read and write heads from the hard drive, which are kind of equivalent to like the stylus on a record player, if you like, but they've got a little bearing in them there, and they're made out of aluminium. I thought it'd be quite nice to make some kind of like steampunky sort of wall clock and use these as the fingers on the wall clock. I thought that'd be quite an interesting thing to do at some point in the future. But I got tons, I also managed to get out of them tons and tons of very, very fine copper wire that I've just coiled up there, but this is mega fine copper wire. So that's another thing that we got out of them. Thought we'll find a use for that somewhere along the line. The battery thing, that's not out of one, obviously, that's for something else. But yeah, and of course lots and lots of little tiny screws and little connectors, little electrical connectors and things as well. So I took the hard drives apart, and I also got out them, of course, some incredibly strong neodymium magnets, which are all stuck together there, and you have a job parting these, but if you can part them, there, they are incredibly mega strong, these neodymium magnets. And there's just 3 of them. I'm wondering where the 4th one's gone now. I'm just pondering on where that is. But yeah, neodymium magnets out of old hard drives, which we will find a use for at some point in the future. I absolutely promise you. And then the other thing you get out of them is the county chassis tray, which is actually a fairly thick piece of aluminium. Now, another thing that we're going to be doing when the weather warms up a bit and we can get outside a bit more, is we are going to be making a furnace-y type thing so that we can melt aluminium and cast aluminium. So watch out for that. That is also coming up on the channel over the next few months. When the weather warms up a bit more and it gets a bit more spring-like than it currently is in the UK, we'll start doing all sorts of stuff like that as well. So it's not just telephones that we deal with here. We deal with all kinds of things. So if you've got anything that you particularly want to see on the show, if you want us to make anything, or if you're making something you've got a bit stuck and you want any help or advice, get in touch with us. ANDYS@coldpress.net. Get onto the contact us thing, and we will endeavour to help you in future episodes. We might even do a special video and put up on the channel about it. Right, that, I'm afraid, about wraps it up for this week. Thanks to everybody who has been in touch again this week, particularly about all this YouTube stuff that's going on, and been in touch to show their support. Remember, please show your support to all the small YouTubers out there. Look on that little red box that you see if they've got 1,000 subscribers, and particularly if they've not got 1,000 subscribers, do subscribe to them, because every little helps, and it will make a big difference to whether or not they can earn a bit of revenue for their efforts in the future. And we don't want to see YouTube just with a few big channels on it, do we? We want to see the little people on it, because they often have the most interesting content to provide. So, as I say, that about wraps it up for this week. Thanks to everybody out there for their support. Thank you for watching. Remember, wherever you're watching us from, if you want to find a place where you can always watch this show live, no matter what platform we are broadcasting on, you can watch live through our own website. Go directly to live.coldpress.net, or if you go to andyshed.coldpress.net, there will be a link on there soon to the live show as well. But for now, it's live.coldpress.net, and you should be able to see a test live stream of this show on there every Sunday evening, somewhere between about 6 and 7 PM UK time. We generally broadcast. So there we have it. What else have I got to tell you? I think that about covers it for this week. What's on the show next week, I hear you ask? Well, assuming that I've not got entirely lost in my taxi this week, and I'm not like in the Outer Hebrides or somewhere like that, we'll be back around about the same time. I think we're on around about 6 o'clock next week. Should be a little bit early next week, on about 6 o'clock. And hopefully we are going to be getting into some of the telephone restorations as well. We're also going to be doing some model railway stuff. If you want to build a model railway on the cheap, keep watching this channel, because we are going to show you some of the stuff on model railways and how to do it on the cheap. Also on the channel, if not on this actual show, we are going to be doing things where we are building a model railway and showing the differences between what they call DCC and ordinary DC control. Is digital DCC worth it? Is the extra expense worth it? We'll be asking the question and trying to come up with the answers. So that's another thing to look forward to on the ANDYS Shed channel over the next few weeks or so. Also, if you're going to the Model Railway exhibition at Doncaster in a couple of weeks' time, 10th and 11th of February, off the top of my head I think it is, watch out for us there. We are hoping to be there at some point over the weekend. Probably be there, I think, on the 11th of February. I think that's when we're going to be there, on Sunday the 11th of February. That's the one for that. So that is about it for another show. Thank you very much for watching and sticking with us for another half hour or so on this Sunday evening. I am off now. If you're watching us live and you want to see something interesting tonight, get on Channel 4 in a little while. The Biggest Little Railway. You'll quite like that with the good old Dick Strawbridge there. But from us for now, until next week, see you soon.